Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is Wednesday, October 13th, 2021, and finally the countdown to the release of the 2021, let's say 2022 Mahindra Roxor is on. According to the website, you can see we have a countdown. As of this recording, it is actually 28 days left. And if you follow the countdown, it says that the activity will actually happen on November 11th, 2021. So actually the information you see on there has changed. So it now says that please check back on November 11th. And then if you look at the accessories, it is pretty much still the same parts and accessories that we had previously for other versions of the Mahindra Roxor. And also for the engine and other parts catalog, nothing has really changed. So we expect that there's going to be a very high interchangeability of parts between the 2018, 2019 and 2020 Roxors. It's quite interesting. This vehicle has been out barely for what I would say 3 years now, 4 years, and it has had about 3 to 4 revisions, which is quite astounding. But kudos to the guys at Mahindra for keeping up with the times and actually playing dodgeball with the industry. They are taking all the shots in step and they are reacting appropriately to make sure that this product continues to be available for the United States market. So we expect the new 2022 Roxor, let's call it that way, to look essentially like what you have in these pictures, which were released, and I believe this is the design that was approved by the United States Trade Commission. So expect the new Roxor to look something like this. That's only a cosmetic change actually from what I can see and tell, because it just appears like the fender was shaved and then the hood expanded to meet the fender, as opposed to the hood tapering in older versions of the Roxor. The interior, I expect no changes. So those who are familiar with the controls of the Roxor, the seating position, non-adjustable steering wheel, no tilt for the seats, I believe all of that will remain the same. Headlights, winch options, I also think all of those will remain the same. The roll cage, nothing has been said about any changes to the roll cage. So current cabs should definitely fit easily on the 2022 Mahindra Roxor. It is quite exciting because it's been such a long wait from the time that the order was put in place that parts for the Mahindra Roxor could not be imported or sold, but the current inventory, I believe they were able to sell current inventory that was sitting at dealers. So after the inventory that was at hand sold off, there was quite a huge demand for new Roxors, and my dealership, which is Willys Sports and Marine in Minot and Bismarck, North Dakota, they actually ran out of these quite early. And just to give you a sense of how fast this moved, these guys had at one point, I would say, not less than 15 to 20 Roxors, and within a matter of weeks they were all gone. So there's actually quite a huge demand out here where you have farms, and the farmers, you know, when it gets cold, wintry, you have snow and muddy fields, I believe the Roxor actually performs quite well there. And the way the machine is also built, it is quite durable, so I think that helps in selling this machine, the Roxor, to industrial outfits and also big farmers. Now, speaking of the engine, I believe it's still going to be the same 2.5 liter M2DICR turbo diesel engine, putting out 62 horsepower stock and 144 pound-feet of torque at 1,400 RPM. I believe it's about that. Also, I believe the two transmission options will still be available. That would be the 5-speed NGT 520 5-speed manual transmission, and also the GM6 L50 6-speed automatic transmission from Punch Power Glide. Apart from that, I can't really think of anything that might have changed. And who knows, maybe the new design is going to grow on us, the people who love and support this platform. But you never know. Many people who buy the Roxor do one of two things. On the one hand, you have people who just leave it stock, and then on the other hand, you have people who modify the hell out of their Roxors. So those are the two schools of thought, and I believe for those who modify their Roxors heavily, the new design shouldn't pose a challenge at all, because a lot of people prefer the flat fenders, and probably with the new design, converting it to a flat fender may not be as much of a challenge. So another innovation that's going to happen is that the Roxor will now be sold by Mahindra tractor dealers. I am not really sure if I have one in my neck of the woods, but in my case, I think my powersport dealer was more comfortable working on these Roxors. I don't know how it's going to go down with the tractor dealers, but most of the problems that are common with the Roxor, come from pushing the machine really hard. One would be using very large oversized tires, which cause drivetrain problems. The second would be the availability of spares, like the starter. So when you go into deep mud, the starter has a tendency of soaking up some of the water and mud, and then causing problems afterwards. So if you do that, please do remember to hose down the starter, get off all the mud before it gets dry and kicked in there, and prevent your Roxor from starting. Other problems that people have reported commonly with the Roxor has to do with some electrical problems, notably the gauge cluster going dead, or if you take out the gauge cluster, you will have a hard time putting it back in place and securing it. Apart from that, pretty much it's proven to be a very reliable platform. Most people say that when you get it, make sure you check the fluid levels. That would be the oil level in the front and rear differentials, and also the manual gearbox and the transfer case. Also, there's been reports of the wheel bearings not being sufficiently greased, so that's another thing that you might want to look into if you get one of these Roxors. Common modifications would include the EGR delete that some people do, and of course the tuning the ECU to actually get the full potential from the engine and doing it safely. For that tuning, the gold standard seems to be Diesel Freaks, and he does a pretty good job of that. I believe he's based out of Gaylord in Michigan, so check that up. But That's one of the most common modifications that are done on the Roxor, where Diesel Freaks he tunes your Roxor and then brings it up to where you can actually have the full power that the engine can deliver. So November 11th, noon Eastern Daylight Time, we will all be watching for the release of the 2022 Mahindra Roxor. Already I like the way that they've done it, giving people enough time to get prepared and find out more information about how the release is going to go about. People, the media, if they have to find out, if they have to be at a specific location, or on that day you would already have dealerships across the country with inventory ready to sell. So all of those are details that we will likely get information on as the 28 days or 29 days, 28 days as of right now, roll by. For me, I'm quite happy with my Roxor. It's done everything I expected it to do, so I'm absolutely contented. But I still have a few things which I will have to verify. For example, my axles, so far I haven't checked to see if they have enough oil, but I trust my dealership because they are they are one of the major powersports dealerships in North Dakota, and I would say actually in the upper Midwest. So they are very meticulous with what they put out there in the market. Knock on wood, haven't had any issues with my Roxor, so I hope it keeps on trucking. For merch, well, I guess there might be a few redesigns, like because the whole design concept of the Roxor has changed, so I believe there will be some updating. And now I also wonder, because there used to be a newsletter about the Roxor and you could pick that up at dealerships and other places like in malls where they were showcasing the Mahindra Roxor. Now that we have a whole new reorganized structure, I wonder if those perks will still be available. Also, I remember there was the hat, the Roxor hat, that was given out to people who requested them. I got one. And also EMT, former military, they got Roxor jackets, even though I believe some people might not have gotten theirs before the operation shut down. But we are all very excited that the Roxor is coming back. We look forward to seeing the new version of the Roxor, what has changed, what hasn't changed. We are all anxiously waiting to see the specs, and of course find out how it drives. That is a big one. The current version of the Roxor drives okay. Some people find it that the ride is a little bumpy, which could be attributed to two things: the spring rate, because it has leaf springs, and also the seats, which are quite firm. They are not very cushy like you would expect on some luxury SUVs. So it's very utilitarian, and if you take it on high-speed excursions on bumpy roads, then you would definitely feel some pain in your butt and in your back. But I really don't expect major changes for the drivetrain, the suspension geometry. I believe all of those will mostly remain stock. It would be this is now just me wishing, but it would be rather interesting and quite nice if the newer Roxors would leave the factory with some form of windshield. That would be awesome. And also maybe an affordable roof option. Just those two items would make the comfort level in the Roxor go up so high, and of course make the Roxor ever so much more desirable. So here I am test driving one of the earlier automatic Roxors, and yeah, it's very easy to drive, and I think that transmission is actually overkill for the Roxor. You find that in very high-end vehicles that weigh about twice the weight of the Roxor. So it's a very tough transmission unit, almost manufactured a la carte. In Strasbourg, I believe that's in France, but the company is an Austrian company. So very nice setup, great options, manual, automatic transmission. Whichever one suits your driving style, you have that availability. If you are a rock crawler and you need the automatic so you can slowly crawl up rocks, yeah, that is available to you. And again, I believe the heart of the Roxor lies in its engine and in its driveline components, which have proven themselves over many years in very tough tropical and subtropical conditions in the Indian subcontinent and also in Africa, because the Mahindra Thar is also sold in South Africa. So there you can see the classic Roxor look, which will be undergoing slight surgery and subsequent modification. So I want to thank you all for watching this video, and I will be sharing information with you as I get it. Otherwise, catch you guys on the next video.